Welcome back to another episode of Positive Solutions for Life. This is Peggy Meyer. Last week, we talked about the flywheel effect, how to build unstoppable momentum. So today, we're going to dig into why so many people lose momentum and give up right before the breakthrough. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right in your business, your health, or your fitness, and yet nothing seems to be changing? You're showing up, you're putting in the effort, but the results just aren't there. Well, you're not alone. What you might be facing is what I call the flywheel pitfall, or worse, the doom loop. So let's break it down. The flywheel versus, let's call it the doom loop. The flywheel is a concept that represents slow, steady progress. So last week we imagined this giant, heavy wheel like a gear. At first, it's really hard to push. It barely moves, but with each effort, it gains a little bit more momentum. Eventually, it's spinning with almost no effort, powered by all the consistent work you put in earlier. So now contrast that with the flywheel pitfalls, or we're just going to call it doom loop. This is where so many people get stuck. The doom loop happens when things go wrong. Here's what it looks like for a person or business. Just an overview. They start off with a new goal or a program. They don't see results fast enough, or they start to see disappointing results, which leads to an emotional reaction without understanding the real reason why they're not getting the results. And then this leads to a new direction, a new program, or a new leader, or a new coach. And maybe they even buy a new gadget or sign up for a new challenge. Then this leads to no buildup, lost momentum. We're starting something new, which leads to more disappointing results. You start over again and again, and the cycle repeats itself. I just can't help but think of a famous image of a gold miner who just gives up inches from striking gold because they didn't see the results. They didn't see the results quick enough. Somebody else comes in, digs a little bit deeper in that same area, and finds the treasure. They find the gold. That's the flywheel versus doom loop in action. So, why do we fall into the doom loop, anyways? So, here are four common reasons people give up just before the breakthrough, which leads them into falling into the doom loop. So, first, they expect overnight success. We see someone who seems to succeed out of nowhere. That sports superstar, for example. We don't see this. We don't see the years of quiet effort behind the scenes, the countless hours in the gym, the waking up early, the staying late after practice, getting individual coaching, all the time and effort that was put in beforehand. Nobody sees that. The results take time to show. But because you didn't see the success or see all the work in the beforehand, like we just think it's an overnight success. Just because you don't see success or the change yet doesn't mean it's not happening or it's not coming very soon. A second reason people give up just before the breakthrough is we get distracted by shiny objects. You know this phrase? Like we often change programs too soon because we're not seeing the results right away. So we think it's not working. So we jump from one program to another. We chase the newest and greatest fad or trend. What this actually does is it disrupts the flywheel's momentum. It resets it every single time we chase something else. This leads to a really scattered focus. If we're constantly chasing things, we can never fully engage and see what we do to the end, to see what actually will happen. It's not going to take just a week to figure out the results if it's working or not. It takes time. The third reason people give up is they don't track progress. They don't see the progress, they don't track the progress, or they focus on just one factor. So what this is we often are making progress, but we don't realize it because we're not tracking it. We're not measuring things that will show that we are making progress. There is more than one way to track progress. Often we just get stuck measuring one factor. We want this outcome when there's always multiple ways success happens. If you don't track it, you'll feel like you're just failing when you're actually growing and making progress. And we'll get to some examples here shortly. The fourth reason people give up just before the breakthrough and they fall into this doom loop is they try to hack the system. They try to do some shortcuts instead of mastering the fundamentals. You can't win an Indy 500 race if you first don't know how to drive. Trying to implement advanced strategies before mastering the basics will not work. You cannot build momentum with a wheel with no axle. There are no shortcuts to success or lasting change. You have to master the basics and the fundamentals first in order to build the flywheel momentum. So, we went over four reasons why we fall into a doom loop, but let's go over some common pitfalls of the flywheel in business and health. Let's get some real examples here so we can kind of wrap our mind around it. First, in business, what are some common business pitfalls that lead to flywheels breaking down into a doom loop? Well, here's four. The first, lack of patience and consistency. Flywheels take time to build momentum. Businesses often abandon promising strategies too soon, before the traction builds, often because they don't see the immediate results, leading them to chase the shiny objects like we just talked about. Another pitfall is disjointed or misalignment across teams or departments. So, if different departments of a company and a business are not on the same page, they're not aligned with the core flywheel strategy, efforts can counteract each other, leading to slow growth. Everybody needs to be focused on the same goal. Everyone must push the same flywheel together in the same direction. If we're have counteracting, one team might be pushing it this way, and another team's like, oh no, wait, we need to go this way with it, leading to like really slow growth or no growth at all. The third reason or a common pitfall for businesses is that it neglects core drivers. Businesses often shift their focus away from what originally drove momentum and success in the first place. Happy, satisfied customers, or innovation and core values and strategies, which, really got the momentum going in the first place. But if we're not continuously focusing on those core drivers, it can stall progress and disrupt the flywheel momentum. And the last one is lack of feedback. Flywheel effects are real, but can be really invisible at first. So if the business needs to track what matters. Does it track engagement, retention, satisfaction, maybe some market trends in order to learn and adapt? You have to get feedback in order to make adjustments. Otherwise, they're just going to keep pushing this broken flywheel around, just losing momentum and pushing themselves out of business. All right, there's the four business strategies that kind of get businesses to fall into breaking down a flywheel momentum. So maybe you're not a business owner or a CEO of a company, but you are the one and only person in your body. So here are some common pitfalls leading to a doom loop that relates to personal and health and fitness. So the first one is inconsistent habits. The flywheel of health and wellness requires daily effort. Skipping workouts or constantly changing diets resets the wheel and starts it all over again. So you cannot gain momentum if you kind of switch it up all the time. The second is impatient with results. That kind of goes along with inconsistent habits, doesn't it? Many people give up because they expect fast results. They fall for the lose 10 pounds this week without changing anything kind of ads and promotions. They forget that they got to this place in your health over a period of years, not and decades, right? Not a week. You didn't just fall into being 30, 50, 100 pounds overweight or all of these diseases and things that are going wrong in a week. I mean, it took decades probably. So it's going to take longer than a week or a month to start seeing improvements. Physical transformation takes time and it happens from the inside out. The third common pitfall leading to a doom loop related to health and fitness is we overcomplicate the process. We switch programs, we try extreme diets, we chase fads, we can just make it more complicated than it really is. So we derail just a simple, effective routine that's slowly building results. Think of improving sleep habits, just little habits at a time. Maybe switching out soda for water, not having a dessert after supper. These little things we can do over time and just keeping it simple because complexity increases that inconsistency of habit building. And the fourth and final one of, what's going to make you fall into a doom loop for health and fitness is the lack of tracking and reflection. Without tracking progress, it's hard to see your small wins, but only focusing on one measurement, for example, maybe the scale, like how much do you weigh, can hinder progress and make it really easy to feel like nothing is working. So make sure to track and reflect on what's taking place in other areas of your life and your body. For example, your mood. Are you in a better mood? Do you have more energy? Do you have more focus and concentration? Are you sleeping better? And even how are your clothes fitting? Take measurements. Use a tape measure. Measurements, the tape measure doesn't lie, you know. So those little improvements can be happening even if the scale doesn't move. So you're likely having some small wins in these areas, but if you're not tracking it, you won't know. So track these things and it'll help you to see that you are making progress and it will keep you from giving up too soon. So let's pause for a moment and reflect. Are you in a flywheel that's building momentum or are you in a doom loop? Ask yourself, are you showing up consistently? Are you doing the little things consistently? Or are you chasing new plans instead of sticking with one for at least 3 months to see how it's working? Are you tracking small wins? Are you tracking more than one thing to see your progress? Mood, thoughts, yeah, food tracking, whatever. Are you tracking those things? Are you reacting emotionally to slow progress? If you're not getting quick results, are you just emotionally going, oh, this isn't going to work, and you go find something else? Flywheel behavior, building momentum, means that you are focused on small wins. You value consistency over perfection. You trust the process, even when it's slow. The doom loop behavior means you're constantly changing things up. You're overreacting to obstacles and when things aren't going the way you want them to. And you're always trying to realign other people or yourself. It's just this matter of constantly pushing one way and pulling the other. So, how do you stay on track? You can stay in the flywheel and gain momentum by being patient, being consistent, and remembering that momentum builds over time. The results will come if you do consistent small actions over a long period of time. And also celebrate your wins and be focused and clear on what drives your flywheel forward. Those small aligned actions that do build up momentum over time. So you might be closer to the breakthrough than you think. Don't stop inches from the gold. The flywheel is hard to get moving at first, but once it's spinning, it becomes your greatest asset. Remember, transformation doesn't happen in a moment. It happens in many little moments stacked on top of each other. One choice, one win, one day at a time. So if this resonated with you, please share. Please share this episode with a friend who might be stuck in the doom loop, and let's get them out together. Have a great day.